Friday, so this will be a good refresher for all three of our shapes before we jump into today's lesson, which is combining everything. So we really got to understand what's going on with these shapes if we want to do what we're doing today. So let's start with number 2 in a cylinder. Okay, I'm not asking anyone in this room to memorize these formulas. Okay, not only are they literally right there on the wall and will be when you're taking your test, but they are in your notebook clearly 2 or 3 different times. You do not have to memorize them, right? But I do expect you to know how to find that information, right? A lot of times math is like you have to memorize. I'm more in the interest of teaching you how to use your resources and find information that you need. Because in the real world, if I have a problem, I go on my phone and try and figure out what the solution is going to be. I don't just have to come up with it off the top of my head, right?
Yeah.
So number 2, cylinder, my volume is pi r squared h. If I lost my notebook, I can look over there. I see the cylinder. I see V equals pi r squared h. Perfect. I know that's my formula. All I need to know is my r and my h. Well, h I'm pretty sure stands for height, and this cylinder looks like it's about 4 kilometers tall. Okay? Now my radius is a little bit trickier to find, right? I might just go, oh, here's my second number, but why is 6 not the radius? Because that's the diameter. This line goes all the way across.
Should be half of it.
So we got to cut it in half. What's half of 6? 3 kilometers. That's my radius, right? 3 times 3 is 9. 9 times 4 is 36. That gives me an exact volume of 36 pi kilometers cubed. And then we could take out our calculators, which we all probably did, and we should get 113.10. 113.10 kilometers cubed. Just like that. There's my 2 answers. Exactly equal to this, about equal to that. Give me a thumbs up if that's what you got on number 2. Sophie got that on number 2, Anila did, Angelina did, Layla did, Alyssa did. Perfect. Almost all of us. Emerson, you can't find this one? Okay. To the back, number 10. Now this one's a little bit different. It's a cone. We're going to start with the same formula, pi r squared h. But because a cone takes up less space than a cylinder, if you think about the sides of a cylinder kind of collapsing together and making that point on the top, it's a lot of volume that we're cutting out. So we're going to divide that by 3. Okay? So again, my height, how tall this is, it looks like going straight up and down here is 14 meters. And my radius should only be going halfway across. This line's going all the way across. So what would we call 14 for this shape? We'd call, 7 would be my radius because 14 is my diameter. I can't do 49 times 14 in my head, so we'll plug that in. 49 times 14 does that divide by 3 evenly? No, it does not. So we'll get 686 pi over 3. Meters cubed. And then we'll just plug that into our calculator. 686 divided by 3, we already have that, times pi is about 718.38 meters cubed. So when we take our test on either Wednesday or Thursday, I haven't decided yet, but it's coming up in just a couple of days, your numbers here have to be exact. If you end up somehow with 717.25, there's going to be points taken off. Okay, this is a very strict, rigid set of steps that you have to follow. If you follow them exactly, you will end up with this exact number. But if you don't type in pi and instead you type in 3.14, your answer is going to be different. If you forget to divide by 3, obviously your answer is going to be very different. We have those steps from Thursday. It looks like a novel of all 3 shapes, exactly how to do it. We should just be following those steps. And last but not least, the sphere, a little bit more confusing. The volume of my sphere, if I look up there, I forget. SA, well, that's not volume. V is volume. 4 pi r cubed over 3. Now, spheres don't have a height because they're, all the way around like a sphere, like a ball. So I just need my radius. Am I going to cut this 4 in half to get me 2? No, why not? It's already half of a line. So my radius is 4. Another thing to point out is with a sphere, we're not squaring our radius, we're cubing it. So we'll do 4 times 4 times 4. That gives me 64. I'm going to multiply the 64 times 4 to give me 256 pi over 3. Does 256 divide by 3 evenly? No, it does not. So I'll multiply that number by pi to give me about 268.08 meters cubed. And again, when we're dealing with cones and spheres, if we end up with a fraction as our exact answer, right, we don't want those long decimals in our exact answer, I should see that my estimate or my approximate answer is very close to the number in front of pi, 256, 268, relatively close. Up here we had 686, 718. That's still relatively close, right? So that's what we should see when we're left with a fraction there at the end. Anybody get that for number 11? 268.08 down to the decimal? Just Angelina, Raya, Hiba, Daniel, Sophie? Okay. Emily, great job.